WVTT information overload. Breaking news tonight out of Washington, D.C. Late this afternoon, John Brennan confirmed by the U.S. Senate to head up America's Central Intelligence Agency. Now, this is despite yesterday's historic filibuster by Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. He certainly had a long day at work yesterday, a 13-hour filibuster on the Senate floor. Now, Brennan is considered one of the main architects of a controversial drone program that can be used by American citizens, possibly even on American soil. Senator Paul used his time to sharply question the Obama administration's use of the program. Now, 13 hours might seem like a long time to talk, especially without the bathroom break, but that's not even close to the all-time historical record. Today, Senator Harry Reid spoke of the former senator who holds that record.
He took the floor for 24 hours. Now, I may disagree with Strom Thurmond, but he had a right to talk. Rand Paul had a right to talk. One Republican senator did return to regular order. And as his right, he spoke for as long as he was able to speak. And, Mr. President, that is a filibuster. After 12 hours standing and talking, this is how Senator Paul ended his filibuster, and I quote, "I would go for another 12 hours to try to break Strom Thurmond's record, but I've discovered there are some limits to filibustering, and I'm going to have to take care of one of those in a few minutes here." End of quote. Well, Mr. President, I've been involved in a few filibusters, as Rand Paul did yesterday. And what I've learned from my experiences with talking filibusters is this: to succeed, you need strong convictions, but also a strong bladder. It's obvious. Senator Paul has both.
Now, just for the record, Senator Thurmond's filibuster against the Civil Rights Act of 1957, it lasted 24 hours and 18 minutes without a potty break. Also breaking news out of South Korea. The UN Security Council has approved new sanctions to punish North Korea for its latest nuclear tests. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, made the announcement today.
The entire world stands united in our commitment to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, and in our demand that North Korea comply with its international obligations. If it does not, then the Security Council committed today in this resolution to take further significant measures if there is another nuclear test or missile launch.
Meanwhile, it's been almost 6 years now since this retired FBI agent vanished in Iran. He's Robert Levinson. You see him here. He traveled to Kish Island as a private investigator on March 8th, 2007. He disappeared the next day. Levinson will turn 65 years old on March 10th. He served 28 years working for the U.S. government. Now, the FBI says it remains committed to finding Levinson. Last March, the agency offered a $1 million reward for information leading directly to Levinson's safe return. A federal jury has awarded a New Mexico man $15.5 million in damages for his treatment behind bars. Stephen Slevin was arrested for drunk driving in 2005. He was put in solitary confinement and basically ignored for 2 years. These pictures show the before and after. Slevin sued, saying he was malnourished, developed bed sores, fungus, and dental problems. He said at one point he was forced to pull his own tooth. Slevin was later released and the charges dropped. A jury awarded him $22 million for violation of his constitutional rights. Dona Ana County appealed that amount and agreed to settle for $15.5 million. The former lead investigator in the Oscar Pistorius murder case has resigned, according to South African police. Hilton Botha was pulled from the Pistorius case after prosecutors reinstated charges against him from a 2011 case. Botha is accused of chasing and firing on a minibus full of people while he was drunk. The former officer is charged with 7 counts of attempted murder. Pistorius, a double amputee track star, is accused in the killing of his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp, last month. Well, a Massachusetts man could spend the rest of his life in prison for killing his ex-girlfriend. Today, a judge sentenced 20-year-old Nathaniel Fujita to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Hours earlier, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Lauren Astley in 2011. Prosecutors say Fujita lured her to his home, strangled and stabbed her to death before dumping her body in a marsh. They were both 18 at the time. Fujita's lawyers had argued he was psychotic and therefore not criminally responsible at the time of the killing. They claimed he was deeply depressed and was suffering the effects of daily marijuana use and years of football head injuries. Prosecutors maintain that Fujita was simply enraged over his recent breakup with Astley. Fujita's attorneys are expected to appeal the sentence. Out of Africa, Kenya's presidential vote count lacks integrity and must be stopped. That's the claim by Kalonzo Musyoka, running mate of presidential candidate Raila Odinga.
Evidence that the results we are receiving have actually been doctored. Because of these concerns, we as a coalition take the position that the national vote tallying process lacks integrity and has to be stopped.
Musyoka said results were doctored in some parts of Kenya where voter turnout exceeded 100%.
There is no date for the conclave established, nor is there a mass for the election of the Roman pontiff reserved or already booked for St. Peter's Basilica on Monday afternoon.
Now in Rome, that conclave has still not been established to find another pope to succeed Pope Benedict XVI. No date for that conclave established, nor is there a mass for the election of the Roman pontiff reserved or already booked for St. Peter's Basilica on Monday afternoon. We'll continue to keep you up to date here on WVTT. Also out of Italy tonight, former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has been handed another prison sentence, this time for 1 year, but it's unlikely Berlusconi will see the inside of a jail. This ruling has to do with the publication of an illegally obtained wiretap in a newspaper that he owns, but Berlusconi can appeal. He's currently fighting last year's tax evasion conviction, and he's still on trial for charges of sex with an underage prostitute. That's WVTT's Information Overload.